So where does human language come from? Um, did it just, uh, spring up one day? How can we trace the idea of human language back to its origins? Um, so one of the things that anthropologists do is we try to understand issues that aren't sort of physical, um, like language or religion, by looking at any kind of evidence that we might have around us with either information from past societies, like in archaeology, information from related species, such as chimpanzees, who are related to us, not in a direct way, but if you think about the human ancestry, we share a sort of a great, 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 great grandmother, right? So 2 million years ago, there was a common ancestor between sorry, not 2, 5 to 7 million years ago, there was a common ancestor between chimpanzees and humans. And after that common ancestor, we don't really know exactly who that was, but an ancient ape-like creature, most likely. The two branches leading off to apes, to chimpanzees, and leading to humans diverged, right? So when we say we look at chimps as being sort of in our human ancestry, we're not directly related to them, but we share an ancient ancestor from about 5 million years ago. We might also look at other societies in the world, people who are still very communally oriented, people who live in places that haven't hit high levels of sort of technological development, that aren't high income areas. So a lot of the things that they do may resemble some of the ways that our early human ancestors got along. Of course, I'm not saying that these are primitive people in any sense, but they still live in small societies, and somehow, sometimes we can make analogies between the kinds of things they do and the kinds of things that our ancestors might have done. So with that background, let's think a little bit about human language. One thing we know for sure is that chimpanzees use both gestures and vocalizations, or calls, sounds that they make, in order to communicate with one another. They've got a wide range of communication signals that they use with each other. And other primates, such as certain monkeys, actually have words, meaning that when they say a certain thing, for instance, there's a group of monkeys called guenons, and they use monkey language with sounds that sound like piao and hack. So I don't speak it fluently, but if they say something like piao piao hack, it means that there's a predator coming from the sky, and all the monkeys will run out of the tree if they hear a monkey saying piao piao hack. On the other hand, if they say hack 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 piao, or something like that, then all the monkeys will run up into a tree because it means there's a predator on the ground, like a snake or a big cat. So these are essentially words, right? It's a sound that has a meaning that can be distinguished by others, a particular unique meaning. So certainly our earliest ancestors used gestures and vocalizations or calls in order to communicate with each other. The image here of people rowing is meant to symbolize group work, right? So there are many behaviors that humans have in which doing something with a particular timing is important. Many peoples all over the world use chants or songs to keep everyone on a certain rhythm or pace, such as in rowing, or possibly in bringing in a net, or creating something. Maybe I've seen Indian women making desserts by rolling balls in their hands while they're singing a song. And they do this all to the rhythm. So songs and chants like this could have also helped bring language into everyday use and make it important enough for people to even help them survive. And then finally, one of the things that I found most surprising as I was doing research on the origins of language is the idea that trust had to be present for words to take over as the basis of understanding meaning from another person. So if I gesture something and for instance, if I want to help someone, in this image, someone's climbing up a rock, the gesture of, grab my hand, by putting out my hand, it makes a lot of sense. It's intuitive. If I tell them, come up, I will grab your hand, don't worry, you're safe, they have to trust that those words mean the same thing as an extended hand, right? Again, words are symbols, they're just sounds. So there had to have been trust between members of a group of early humans when they were learning language, maybe 100,000 years ago, who would trust each other enough that using language would actually help them survive. It certainly helps if you're like this chimpanzee and you've got 20 oranges in your hands, and then you see a predator, to be able to call out rather than using gestures, because then you drop all of your oranges. So to be able to call out, you can carry things and hold things. You don't have to put your baby down in order to gesture to others, hey, there's someone coming, it's dangerous. So when the use of language becomes a trait that helps people survive, then it tends to be used more, it tends to be passed down more. And then even our bodies change, because chimpanzees don't have the same kind of throat anatomy that we do. So our throats actually changed eventually to allow all of the intricate musculature that we have. Our larynx dropped, and we can control the sounds that we make to a very fine degree, whereas chimpanzees don't have that ability. We also have more developed areas of our brain that produce language. So this would have happened at the same time as language was becoming more and more important for survival.